Welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We're the podcast that wants to help your small business grow through digital marketing. And that includes things like email marketing, Facebook, Pixel, search engine optimization, and so much more. Today, Liz will go over what is a multi-channel campaign.
Yeah, I thought this would be a good topic because it's one of those pieces of jargon that I think we know what it means, and we probably use it when we're meeting with prospective clients, and I think they kind of can wrap their brain around it, but it deserves a bit of a deep dive. So a multi-channel campaign is when companies interact with consumers through multiple channels, whether that be directly or indirectly. And I hate to use more jargon in my definition, but you could also say that involves interacting with customers through inbound activities and outbound activities. And for those who may be scratching their head, outbound activities are things like advertisements, whether that be digital, print, radio, TV. Inbound activities, I think social media, like organic social media is still considered an inbound activity, blogs, things that naturally attract customers and clients to your brand. So the intent with all of this is essentially to have a good mix of activities to reach consumers where they happen to be. One of the keys to creating a successful multi-channel campaign also involves creating a very cohesive strategy across all of these channels. It's important to have a very consistent message, probably a very consistent look and feel to whatever visual or verbal ad you're creating. And then I will say a consistent call to action, but maybe also a call to action that's consistent with the channel itself and also where that channel may fall in the sales funnel, which I know that gets a little complicated. But I thought it would be good to run through an example because I'm working with a client right now and we are really kicking up their multi-channel approach. They are an event lighting company. So one of the things they specialize in is weddings. And it is wedding season. We're recording here in January. I know over the holidays, a lot of couples get engaged, and now is the time to start planning because these weddings take forever to plan now. It's ridiculous. But anyways, this company, they are involved in some local bridal shows. There are several here in Northeast Ohio. So that's kind of the first touch in terms of reaching this market is the bridal show. They obtain email addresses.
Where do they get those?
So one of the perks of participating in these shows and being an advertiser with these companies is that they get access to email addresses. So the companies putting on the shows collect email addresses
from the registrants.
From the attendees, whether that be the bride, and I've gone into the spreadsheets, and so it'll say bride or mother of, so they get pretty specific, which is helpful. I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, we should create a whole separate campaign for mothers of the bride. But anyways, we're focused on brides. We're focused on reaching the decision makers here. So again, bridal show is touch one. And then the next piece to our campaign involves capturing these email addresses, uploading them into a third-party email service, and we've got a drip campaign set up. So I think, let's see, it's 3 touches right away, a little bit of a break, and then 3 more touches. And our thought behind that, again, is kind of because we know how the bridal planning sequence tends to go. You're collecting a lot of information up front, so we're hitting them 3 times. And then as the event approaches, maybe they forgot to think about event lighting. So our intent is to kind of hit them one more time and hopefully capture some last minute events.
And you're hitting them through email, through Facebook, through...
Well, that's email. That's what the email campaign roughly looks like. And then we are also taking those email addresses, uploading them to Facebook, serving them ads through both Facebook and Instagram. And I will tell you that we just launched this campaign, so I have no information on what ads are performing, which channel is performing best. I will get back to you on that. It's all a test. We're testing things. But yeah, so that is an example of reaching out to consumers in person. We've got email, we've got ads on Facebook and Instagram. We've probably got some print in the, because some of these, by the way, some of these companies that do the bridal shows also have a print publication as well. So that's a good example of what a multi-channel campaign looks like. In my mind, this is just the start. There's definitely things we can do in the future to kick it up. We could do some additional retargeting to people who come to our website with other banner ads and digital outreach and things like that. And
do you get their physical mailing address? Could you potentially mail them a
actually,
postcard?
we do.
Yeah.
I did notice that. I don't think we're going to be doing that right now. We're doing another campaign that will involve postcards, but I don't believe our bride campaign does. So the benefit of all of this is reaching out and touching the consumer where they happen to be over and over again, because we know that consistency is key. And I wanted to share a couple stats with you. I don't think I've actually shared this on the podcast, but Keller Williams, the real estate company, they have created a 33 touch point program. I used to hear stats like, 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 touches. And when I heard Keller Williams came out with a 33 touch point program, I was like, whoa.
And touches are
that could
email,
be
in person,
email,
Facebook,
text message, phone call. It's a variety of touches over the course of however many months to secure that listing for a real estate agent. Multi-channel, yes. I also recently heard, or I think I read, that L'Oreal Paris, like the parent company to cosmetic brands, they are finding that it's taking 25 touches before a consumer actually goes to the store and tries a new shampoo or a new body wash. Again, a huge jump from 8 to 12 touches to upwards of 20, maybe even 30 touches to get consumers to take action. We're being bombarded constantly with so many marketing messages. Everything's getting drowned out in all of the noise. You have to be reaching consumers multiple ways in multiple places. Obviously, one of the, I don't want to say downsides to this because there's no downside to marketing more, but one of maybe the hurdles, I think a hurdle is a better way to describe this, is it's a lot to manage for a small company, for a company that's growing their marketing department. It's going to take time and money to grow all of these campaigns, to test them, to really hone in on what's working and what's not. So I think when I talk to some smaller clients, and I mentioned multi-channel campaign, I think they know what it means, but I think they probably get overwhelmed thinking through everything that's going to happen. So with my event lighting company, we're getting the ball rolling. There's more that we can do, but this is a start. We're going to collect some data, figure out what's working. Like I said, we might find that maybe Facebook works better than Instagram or vice versa. I don't know yet. So we're testing and we're going to figure it out. And there's a lot more to this. You can take it to a whole nother level. For example, I was doing a little bit of reading. Some studies have shown that using a combination of computer and mobile advertising during the day works best, but then in the evening, switching to a combination of TV and mobile, because for example, in the evening, a lot of people are sitting down watching TV, and of course, we're browsing our phone as well. So you could, if you had a large enough budget, what I'm saying is do some TV advertising, but then also be doing mobile or social advertising if you know your audience is perusing Twitter while they're watching a particular show.
Or Instagram, yeah.
Exactly. So, and then that's the other point I wanted to make, is you really have to know your audience. You have to know, I can sit here and tell you that doing a combination of TV and mobile in the evening is great, but you've got to know your audience. You've got to know what they're watching, what social channels they're on, in order to really capitalize on a multi-channel campaign and really make it work.
I feel like a lot of brides would be watching The Bachelor maybe, or 90 Day Fiancé, or just everyone watches that apparently.
Yeah, I don't think this particular client is going to jump into TV advertising. I think we're going to do a lot of digital and local outlets for sure. But still a multi-channel approach to get her message in front of the right people and move them through the sales funnel.
I feel like politicians are really people who would be really into multi-channel. They have to send out postcards. They go door to door, knock on doors and talk to people. They do Facebook ads. They do TV ads. They do radio ads. They do I mentioned postcards, phone calls, many different ways to get people to vote for them.
I think a lot of the local politicians are using some of the more traditional free approaches to multi-channel.
And also places like Pizza Hut. Like, for some reason, Pizza Hut just knows I'm home alone on a Friday night at 6 p.m. and they send me an email saying, hey, you want some pizza? And I was like, you know what? I do want some pizza. Thanks for the coupon, Pizza Hut. I'm all alone on a Friday night at 6 p.m.
They know.
They know.
They know their audience. Use the digital data that you collect to your advantage. We are not under the guise of GDPR yet here in the States, so there's still a lot of great, valuable information that you can collect and add to your buyer personas, for sure.
Yeah. So Pizza Hut knows I click on their ads every Friday at 6 p.m., so they just keep sending them. They know. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Liz. I know we do use a lot of jargon here in marketing. We've talked about that before, so I'm glad we're explaining and putting it more in layman's terms. So I appreciate that. And thank you for listening. You will find us where you find your favorite podcast. If you like what you hear, we'd love a review, especially on iTunes. You'll also find us on Spotify and Google Podcasts. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll also leave our email address in the show notes. If you have any questions or comments, we'll give you a shout out and a link back to your business. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.